Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, PT Martinique. I know it's strange that you're seeing me this hour of the morning on a Saturday, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Tropical storm Gonzalo is affecting islands in the Windward Islands, and it is only right as your information center that Classic 105 Hot 98 GBN is right here providing the information for you. Good morning to all the folks across the Tri-Island, whichever part of the state you are. Those of you that may be joining us across the region as well, good morning to you. We are going to be tracking Gonzalo. Let's put it that way, tracking Tropical Storm Gonzalo. And this morning we are going to join the meteorologist at the Meteorological Office at the Morris Bishop International Airport. The meteorologist we have online is Cecile Mitchell, and she'll be providing an update for us this morning as we continue to track the path of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. Good morning, Cecile.
A very pleasant good morning to you, Blossom, and good morning to all the listeners and viewers of GBN. Firstly, here's an update on Gonzalo's progress thus far. At 5 a.m., the tropical storm was located near latitude 10.1 degrees north, longitude 58.7 degrees west. That is about 180 miles east of Trinidad, 190 nautical miles east-southeast of Grenada. The maximum sustained winds are 40 miles per hour. Its present movement is west or 270 degrees at 18 miles per hour. The minimum central pressure is 1009 millibars, and that has been constant for the last 3 hours. Grenada remains under tropical storm warning. Now let's talk a little bit about what has been happening with the storm. Thus far, the island has been affected by the leading edge of the storm. I stress the leading edge of the storm and not the center. The center of the storm remains, like I said, east-southeast of Grenada, 190 miles east-southeast of Grenada, and the weather model suggests that between 2 and 5 p.m., the center of the storm should cross the island. So let's take a look at the current conditions here at the Morris Bishop International Airport. At present, it is overcast and light showers. The surface winds are blowing from an east-northeasterly direction at 18 miles per hour. The barometric pressure is 1013.4 millibars. That's above normal and rising. The current temperature is 24.4 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity stands at 93%. The maximum temperature recorded yesterday was 24.4 degrees Celsius, while the minimum overnight was 22.8 degrees. Over the past 24 hours, there was 12.1 millimeters of rainfall here at the airport, and this brings the total thus far to 33.0 millimeters. Here now is a public forecast, and that's valid for today and tonight for the state of Grenada. Weather conditions are expected to be cloudy to overcast and windy in moderate to heavy widespread showers, periods of rain and thunder showers. Let's talk about the warnings. There are warnings in effect for flooding and landslides. Please be cautious. Maximum temperature 27.5 degrees Celsius, winds easterly to southeasterly at 20 to 35 knots, gusting higher in showers. We expect the winds to diminish overnight. A marine advisory also remains in effect. Let's take our seas. Rough to very rough waves up to 10 feet in open waters, hence a marine advisory remains in effect. You can expect battering waves. Persons are urged to be very cautious. Tides are currently high, and that's when you factor in that with the state of the seas, you can expect above normal swells. High at 7 a.m., low 1 p.m. Sunset 6:35 and sunrise 5:53. Just to repeat the public forecast, weather conditions are expected to be cloudy to overcast and windy with moderate to heavy widespread showers, periods of rain, and thunder showers. Now, I stress that the center of the storm has not yet passed Grenada. What has been affecting us has been the leading edge of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. So you can expect deterioration in the weather conditions during the course of the morning and afternoon. The warnings that are in place are for flooding and landslides, and also a marine advisory remains in effect. We will continue to update you at the Maurice Bishop International Airport in a very timely manner, and I urge you to remain very cautious and heed the warnings that are in place. From the forecast desk here at the Maurice Bishop International Airport, I am Cecile. Do have yourself a wonderful day.
Thank you, Cecile. We'll keep in touch throughout the day.
Okay.
All right. That was Cecile Mitchell, meteorologist at the Met Desk at the Meteorological Office at the Maurice Bishop International Airport, as we continue to track Tropical Storm Gonzalo. Like she said, we are experiencing the effects of the front of the storm. The center has not passed as yet, and we can expect the conditions to deteriorate, or in other words, we can expect intensification, of the weather that we are experiencing. So far, I have heard reports of lots of rain island-wide. There are parts of the island that have not seen the effects of Tropical Storm Gonzalo as yet, including I saw reports of parts of St. Andrew that has not experienced any rain, thunder, or lightning as yet. But like Cecile said, we can expect that to possibly change throughout the day. Continued information that has been released overnight. Yesterday, the National Water and Sewage Authority, NWASA, says it continues to monitor the path of Tropical Storm Gonzalo, which is expected to pass through the island or over the island today. Preparatory actions of NWASA in maintaining and restoring water and sewage services is of vital importance to national post-disaster activities, and NWASA has therefore enacted its disaster emergency plan. According to the company, the plan looks at measures to be undertaken for the protection of the authority's infrastructure. The company says intention for this period is to have all water treatment plants opened so that everyone can have storage tanks and containers filled to at least a minimum 3 days to last at least 3 days. And island-wide network shutdown of all water systems is expected today. The timing for the disruption in service is dependent on two factors, according to NWASA: the weather conditions and the risk involved in the different systems. So again, those of you who have not yet filled your tanks, your water tanks, bottles, buckets, whatever you may have on hand, barrels, now is the time to do so. NWASA has cautioned that it may, as we say, take water, that it may shut down the water system sometime today, depending on the conditions of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. Also advised from the Ministry of Agriculture, farmers who operate irrigation systems, they are advised that when a tropical storm warning is issued, the following preventative measures must be taken before the storm arrives. Farmers with irrigation systems are asked to remove all the irrigation lines that are not buried. You're also asked to remove the suction hose from river and store in a safe place. Secure your pump units away from the river banks in the event that the rivers overflow or burst their banks. And you're also asked to remove all fuel, oils, chemicals, and other supplies stored in the pump. And if a dam was built in the river course using sandbags, stones, or other materials, remove them so that the water in the river can flow freely. Farmers are also asked to clear all drains and remove debris from the water course as Grenada prepares for Tropical Storm Gonzalo. As well as I also received information that the National Lotteries Authority informs that its Grenville and St. George's sub-offices will be closed today due to the outcome of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. As well as due to the uncertainty of the storm, the NLA will postpone all the draws that have been scheduled for today. These draws will be rescheduled to Monday, God willing, July 27th. Again, all NLA offices are closed in Grenville and St. George's, and the draws have been postponed from today and will take place on Monday, God willing. All tickets purchased for today's draws will be honored on Monday. And finally, before we regroup, NADMA, the National Disaster Management Agency, has advised that there is information that needs to be shared and taken into consideration for the folks who may use the hurricane or emergency shelters island-wide. As the island prepares for Tropical Storm Gonzalo, the protocols expected to guide shelter use once activated include identifying isolation areas in each shelter. Health checks will be conducted on all occupants entering the shelters. All occupants are required to wear face coverings. Occupants are required to supply their own face coverings, whether it be masks or scarves or whatever you may use to cover your face. That is your responsibility. Occupants of the emergency shelters are also asked to maintain their 6-foot distance in and around the shelter. Frequent hand washing or hand sanitizing and cough etiquette will be in effect. And occupants are not allowed to share dishes, drinking glasses, cups, eating utensils, towels, beddings, and other personal items. You're asked to walk with your own utensil and supplies to ensure safety. Users of the emergency shelters as well, you're asked that if you are experiencing fever, chills, cough, loose bowel, frequent movement of the bowel, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, or other symptoms that are compatible with COVID-19, you are asked to monitor your illness. From what I understand, not from an official from NADMA, but from a health official, they cannot or they should not turn you away from emergency shelters. If you're using emergency shelters, it's because you need it and your place of residence is no longer occupiable. Is that a word? Is not able to be occupied. So if you're going to the shelters, they will monitor you for your illnesses and put you in the isolation part of the center, which is one of the reasons they are advising everyone who is using the emergency shelters to protect themselves in the event that someone suffering from COVID-19 needs shelter during the passage of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. Anyone that may need further information as it relates to the shelters and so on, you can contact the National Disaster Management Agency at 440-8390 or 8391, 92, 93, or 94. So far, I have not seen a list of the emergency shelters. I repeat, I have not seen it. I'm not saying there isn't one. I personally have not seen the list of shelters. However, once it becomes available, I will definitely share it with you, our viewers and our listeners. I am also making arrangements, or we here at the GBN, we're also making arrangements to further have discussions with officials at the Met Office as well as the National Disaster Management Agency throughout the morning period to ensure our viewers and listeners are kept up to date with information related to Tropical Storm Gonzalo. I also received a note, an urgent note that residents of Tivoli and the wider public are advised that with immediate effect, all health services at the Tivoli Medical Station have been relocated to the Hermitage Medical Station pending the completion of remedial work. The Ministry of Health reassures residents that efforts are being made to restore services at the medical center as soon as possible, but in the meantime, if you need medical assistance in the Tivoli area, the medical station that you will be using is the Hermitage Medical Station, so please take note. So just as a reminder as it relates to Tropical Storm Gonzalo, according to the National Hurricane Center, tropical storm warning continues for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Tobago, and of course Grenada and its dependencies. Tropical storm conditions are currently affecting the island and are expected later this afternoon into tonight. At 5 a.m., the center of Tropical Storm Gonzalo was located over the Atlantic Ocean, about 180 miles east of Trinidad and Tobago, which is going to experience the direct hit of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. I've seen footage this morning of major flooding taking place in the Twin Island Republic so far. So those of you in Trinidad, please continue to be safe and protect yourselves. Stay indoors as much as you can. Protect yourselves and your family. Those of you here on the mainland in Grenada, Carriacou, PT, Martinique, if you are living in flood-prone areas, please continue to pay attention to your surroundings. Head to higher ground if needed, an emergency shelter if needed, if you know where the emergency centers were last hurricane season. It is possible it is still in place, but please continue to monitor your surroundings. The officials have advised that flooding is expected, landslides are expected, as Tropical Storm Gonzalo is expected to bring moderate to heavy showers throughout today into tonight. And we are going to end our television broadcast here, but of course we will be back with you once we have officials of the National Disaster Management Agency and other officials that can shed light on the passage of Tropical Storm Gonzalo. So do not move, don't change the channel, because we will continue to be your information center for everything you need. To the folks on Classic 105 Hot 98, of course you don't need to move. This is where you need to be for all the information related to Tropical Storm Gonzalo. My name is Blossom. We'll be back with you, let's say approximately 8 a.m. The next complete advisory for the tropical storm will be issued at 11, but an intermediate advisory is expected at 8 a.m. The complete one at 11. So once we have that 8 a.m. advisory, we will return to share it with you, our viewers and our listeners. Thank you guys so much as we continue to track Tropical Storm Gonzalo. Stay safe. Bye-bye to the folks on our visual platforms.
A hurricane, and the point at which it begins lies deep in Africa. Here, the highlands of Ethiopia. It all starts off with a seed, a ripple high in the atmosphere called an easterly wave. Now, every hurricane season, many of these ripples travel thousands of miles in the direction of the Atlantic, but only a few ever become hurricanes. Not all hurricanes are born this way, but